Hi guys. So here we are on our 19th anniversary of the 9/11, and we usually watch a video called 102 Minutes, and that's what I'm going to have you guys watch as well this year. Um, it is 90 plus minutes long, and of course, we're supposed to do something that takes the class hour today, so I can't mandate that you watch the whole thing. But I think some of you will end up wanting to watch the whole thing once you get started. It is all first person accounts of what happened that day. Some of it is cell phone footage, although not a whole lot in 2001. The first bit of footage that you see, actually, there was a commercial being recorded that the New York Fire Department was being a part of. And they happened to be out in the street recording this commercial when they saw the first plane strike. Other than that, you get some news camera footage, other people who happen to have cameras on them at the time, and so on and so on. So it is real. It's not recreated. What you're going to see is the actual footage of what was going on. Later, as the towers are burning, you will see some people who decided at that point that whatever was going on inside those towers was worse than the decision to jump from 100 stories. So you will see some of that happening. It's a bit shocking because it's not CGI, it's not green screen, it's not a computer animation. You're seeing actual people falling to their death. So it is a bit sobering. I just want to let you guys know that ahead of time. If it gets to be too intense, then by all means, I would have you go ahead and stop. When we watch it in class, I always allow the option to step out into the hallway if it's something that you don't feel like you can handle seeing. It is real life history. So if you talk about what is history, this is what it is. So this is something that happened, obviously, September 11th, 2001. And I was teaching here in the middle school. I was over in room 8 at that time. I'd been in room 8 for several years at that point. Mr. Kaiser, if you guys know him, Mr. Kaiser was still the principal. And around, well, I'm recording right now at just after 9 o'clock this morning. At around this time, Mr. Kaiser walked down to my room and poked his head in the door and said, hey, you might want to turn on the news on the TV. We had just little TVs in the corners back then. And so we did. And the first tower was already struck. And it happened at a time when there had been like subway train crashes, railroad crashes. It was just what ended up being negligence by humans. Humans were making some mistakes and they were crashing public transportation things. And so this was another one that happened, and everyone's like, what a tragedy. This is terrible. What happened was the pilot, was he drunk or on drugs or what was going on? How did this happen? And that was a tragic enough story because you could see what was happening in that tower. We were watching in the class as the second plane hit the second tower. And in an instant, not only could you tell in my classroom, you could feel it throughout the whole school. And you knew that it was happening across America, that we all instantly knew that this was not an accident, this was an attack. And certainly for anybody I know, nobody I know is old enough to remember the last time the United States had been under foreign attack. And it changed things instantly. So when they say this is 102 minutes that changed America, that instant for me is what changed America. And there were several of us that at that point already were naming Osama bin Laden that he must be up to it again. He had already tried to bomb the World Trade Center years before by using a truck bomb. And so that's the first thing that, several of us thought of was this is another attack. This is now terrorism. Terrorism wasn't something we talked about every day like we do now. This was the beginning of that phase. So again, this is a part of what changed America to something that I don't even know if some of you would recognize what America used to look like before you were born. as far as things that we used to take for granted, things that we did, freedoms we had, and things like that. So this is a great opportunity for you to see firsthand what was going on. My students that year, we watched it live right in class, watched it develop, watched it happen. Students went home, talked to their parents. We had to decide, were we going to close school early? Were we going to send kids home? With Dow Chemical being so close by, we all knew that this area was a strategic area that, let's say it happened to be the Soviets or the Russians that were doing this, or something like that. Would Midland be next? We were worried about what was called the Sears Tower in Chicago at that point. Other tall buildings. Was this something that was going to happen? We immediately shut down air transportation across the country. Everything shut down. Nothing was in the air except military jets. And we proceeded from there. So this is what it was. I hope that, I don't want to say you enjoy it, but I hope you really get something out of watching this. And I'll see you guys Monday.